Breaking news for Indiana basketball. Four-star small forward Vaughn Karvala commits to the Hoosiers, and it's one that Indiana desperately needed.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, and it is the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you being here, making this your first listen or your first watch every single day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. This is a bonus breaking news episode over the weekend of Locked On Hoosiers, as we've got some good basketball things to talk about, as Vaughn Karvala, the four-star small forward, has committed to play for Darian DeVries and the Indiana Hoosiers. The 47th ranked player in the 2026 class. He stands at 6'6", 180 pounds, plays the forward spot, and he has committed to play for the Indiana Hoosiers. And this is one that the Darian DeVries and his staff desperately needed. This is one that is a game changer, saves the class type of commitment from Vaughn Karvala. Vaughn Karvala. Karvala. Yeah. Okay. Just making sure. Vaughn Karvala, the four-star small forward, has committed to play for Indiana basketball. And this is a guy who is just raw talent. I mean, he can shoot the lights out of the gym. He's athletic as everything. And he's got a little bit of an edge to him, right? He plays very feisty on the basketball floor when you go and watch back highlights in games and things like that. I mean, he's not really scared of anybody or anything or any sort of a moment. And for a guy who was a Midwest kid, he's now playing in Arizona. For him to come back and play for Indiana is a really, really big deal. His recruitment's been kind of wonky. It's been all over the place, right? Syracuse and Xavier kind of felt like they were in the lead. He backs off of both of them and pretty much opens up his recruitment again. Indiana jumps in on him, and Indiana makes it happen. He took an official visit to Indiana in the middle of October, so just a couple of weeks ago, and he made his decision today on Saturday, the 1st of November, and he commits to play for Indiana basketball. And I said that this is a huge commitment because it is. This is a guy that I believe is a developmental piece, not from the standpoint of like we're talking about some of these European kids, right? Some of those guys coming over and having to adjust to the game and kind of slowly get better as the year goes on. I think Vaughn Karvala is somebody who, when you see him on the floor, you're going to understand what he brings. Again, his shot making is incredible. He can handle the basketball. Defensive inconsistencies, I think, is what sticks out to me in terms of highs and lows, goods and bads here. But I think this is a perfect example and a great opportunity for Darian DeVries and his staff to show what they can do for a guy like Vaughn Karvala, a top 50 player. He's got the skill set and the attributes. You just got to kind of put it all together and learn how to play P4 Division I college basketball. And I think this is a perfect opportunity for Darian DeVries and the staff to prove that to future recruits in 27, 28, and beyond. That's what Karvala is going to bring to you, but you can't miss him when he's on the floor. I mean, he's all over the place, and he's only gotten better over the last year or two. He was ranked number 126 in the class of 2026. He jumped all the way up to number 47. That tells you the jump he made from his junior to senior year, and now he's going to be playing for the Indiana Hoosiers. And I really do believe that this saves your recruiting class. I think that this makes it feel so much better for the Indiana Hoosiers. Still waiting on some of the rankings to update, right? If you want to look at the recruiting class rankings, I don't suggest that you do, just because it's only the second commitment that Indiana has in this class, along with Prince Alexander Moody. But you've continued to swing and miss on big-time players, and you finally feel like you broke through and landed with Vaughn Karvala. We're going to talk in a moment after our short break about what could be next, right? What Indiana's missed out on and what they have possibly coming up. But this is such a breakthrough. This is such a relief, I feel like, for Indiana and Darian DeVries, because, again, Prince Alexander Moody was a great get, but he's not going to blow anybody away in terms of his rankings. people noticed Vaughn Karvala. You're talking about teams like Xavier and California and Alabama who jumped in on this guy and wanted him. Syracuse, again, they were kind of in the lead there for a moment. Big time programs wanted this dude. And I think he's only going to get better. And I think he's going to fit the system in Indiana really well when he gets here next year. And we'll get to see, of course, a better idea of what DeVries wants to do with his team and his system at Indiana in particular. But I think Karvala is going to fit it nicely. And I think he'll have a chance to make an impact as a freshman as soon as he gets on campus next year. Because if you're a shot taker and a shot maker, we've already seen that's what Indiana wants to do, which is such a relief, I know. And so I'm excited to see what this guy is. Again, I think his defense is questionable. I think that's going to have to be a focus for him, and hopefully not turning the ball over and not making silly mistakes and things like that. But the athleticism is there. The shot making is there. He's not afraid to yam it on somebody, and he'll talk when he does it too. He's feisty, and I love that out of Vaughn Karvala. And he commits to play for Indiana basketball in the class of 2026. Your second verbal commit in that class, the 47th ranked player in the country, Vaughn Karvala. But when we come back, we'll talk about who could be next, where Karvala fits in all of this, and if Indiana could tack on one more. That's coming up next in this bonus episode of Locked On Hoosiers. Today's bonus episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Mazda's, moving the game forward for those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. There are moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, move culture, and keep moving the game forward. This week's moment that moved the game forward, I'm going back to the exhibition games that Indiana has played in terms of basketball. We'll keep it basketball focused here. And how about Lamar Wilkerson? I think he's going to be a stud. I think he might be your best shooter, your best shot maker, your best shot creator, right? And between him and Tucker DeVries, they're the reason you were able to look pretty impressive in Puerto Rico and against Baylor in an exhibition too, and they're going to have to play well for Indiana this season. So when you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. This bonus episode of Locked On Hoosiers brought to you by DoorDash. It is the weekend. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streak, saving more every time that you order. These players delivered when it mattered most. Let's break it down. I'm going back to Wilkerson. I'm going back to DeVries. And I'm hoping that throughout the year, we could start talking more about Reed Bailey and Sam Alexis and Trent Sisley. All those guys. Nick Dorn is supposed to have a chance in playing in the opener on Wednesday for Indiana basketball. Those guys have to make a difference, and they all have to be their own version of an MVP, and that's what you're going to need for this Indiana squad. So just like those guys delivered and hopefully will deliver for Indiana, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays. With DoorDash Streaks, you save every Saturday that you order, stack it up all season long, and you could save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday, keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period runs through November 18th. And this bonus episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of a game or you want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to the fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Welcome back into this bonus episode of Locked On Hoosiers, talking a little breaking news for Indiana basketball as we're finally able to break out the basketball gear once again and talk about the Hoosiers as we are approaching the start of the season. You get some big time recruiting news as 4-star small forward Vaughn Karvala commits to play for Indiana basketball. And with his size at 6'6", 180, you could see him play a couple of different positions, talking about how he'll fit in this system. We honestly don't really know what the team's going to look like next year, just in terms of eligibility and transfers, and you are definitely going to have some guys graduate, obviously. So it's hard to predict what his exact role will be, but I do believe with his skills and his size, he could play a combination of a 2 or a 3. Playing the 4 might be pushing it because he is 6'6", and I was going to say only 6'6", but I mean, in today's game, it's just, I don't know. Playing the 4, maybe. That'd be a stretch 4, be an undersized 4. It would be a smaller lineup on the floor, I would imagine. But I do think that Karvala could be either a small forward in college or possibly a shooting guard if he's someone who can consistently knock down shots. And he's very streaky in terms of what I've seen in his highlights and things. When he's hot, he's hot. And when he's not, he's not. But that's high school basketball, right? That's high school basketball. That's AAU basketball. That's all the travel stuff. That's just kind of how it goes. And a very individual player, but one I think will learn as he gets into college. And so really excited about this guy, what he's going to bring to the Indiana Hoosiers next year. But you start looking at what the class is and what it could have been and what it still could be for Indiana basketball, right? Of course, we've talked about a lot of players, and Indiana has missed on a lot of players too. Anthony Thompson, Michael Brown, all these guys. I mean, Duran Rippey, Latrell Allman, all these players that you felt like you had a good shot at, it just didn't happen. And I do think that Vaughn Karvala committing could be a domino effect, maybe, but I'm hoping if nothing else, it gives the staff a little confidence to say, okay, we can get kids to come here after they take visits and even go visit other places too. We can still convince them that this is the place that they need to be. And I want to reiterate, once Indiana puts some film on the floor, right? You put some production out there, you put some examples out there with this new coach and this new staff and this new team, right? That's going to open up so many opportunities for you, for recruits to actually see what the Hoosiers are going to do. And I still believe with Karvala, when he gets here, this could help you for 28, 29, and 30 kids to show that you can develop him and make him a good basketball player. You're going to do the same thing with Trent Sisley this year, who I think is probably a little bit further along than Karvala, but very similar in their style of play, if you want to kind of make a comparison there. But you still have a couple of options here as I try to find the notes. Where did I have those written down somewhere? Of what is possibly coming up, right, for Indiana. Here we go. Had some dates written down. So still waiting on Ethan Taylor. That could be at any time. We know that Arafan Diane, he took his official visit this past or a couple of weeks ago, had one more to Houston this weekend. And we know Indiana went to see him before he took that visit. And he's supposed to decide on November 19th. That's his birthday. And then this was the final one we were kind of waiting on, was Vaughn Karvala. I know a lot of people have asked about Marcus Johnson, the Ohio State decommit. Haven't heard a ton of movement after Indiana did the initial reach out, right? I wouldn't hold your breath there unless something changes drastically, but I think the one you're waiting on is Arafan Diane. I think you're waiting on the number 1 ranked center in the country. If he picks you, that's just cherry on top, man. Then you are in business for the class of 2026. But if you don't, I think it's okay. You're still going to have to hit the portal anyway, whether you get a guy like him or not. Karvala helps, but you're still going to have to hit the portal. And I think that's what Indiana is going to want to do, and maybe put their funds towards the transfer portal too, right? There's just so many different avenues that you can go. And we know what Indiana has done with overseas talent as well. So all of that to say, Karvala is a big commit, and it saves the class for Darian DeVries in 26. And you have a chance to add on one more with Arafan Diane. If you get him, great. If you don't, it's not a big deal. It hurts, it sucks, and it would be another loss, but you've at least broken through with this one today, and you have a chance to build on recruiting in the future. So very excited for Vaughn Karvala, the 4-star small forward. He has committed to play for the Indiana Hoosiers. He will be a part of the 2026 class, the second commit for Darian DeVries in his short time at Indiana. The season begins on Wednesday. We'll be talking more Indiana basketball when the new week begins. Of course, we're talking football as well. No, the Hoosiers are, if you're watching or listening to this as it comes out, they're playing Maryland as we speak. So we'll be talking about that here on Locked On Hoosiers, a live show coming up today on this Saturday on a following Indiana and Maryland football, and back to regular shows on Monday. Full episodes, 25, 30 minutes, Monday through Friday. So if you're new around here, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you never miss a new episode of Locked On Hoosiers. Okay, we're back for a live show tonight and a normal show on Monday, Hoosier fans. So until then, stay safe, and I'll talk to you later.